Journey is, well, truly awe-inspiring. And I'm sure each of you sitting here today with us is beaming with pride already, and we have much more in store for you. I'm sure all of you are going to recollect the promise that all your FGIIMs made a year back. Do you remember it? Let me hear you. Do you remember it? It was a promise of bringing the representation of PWDs at FGII to 1% of the total workforce. And today, we are all here to celebrate this momentous occasion and mark this important 1% milestone. Yeah, it's something to be hugely applauded. But before we dive into the details, we have a special message from Roberto Leonardi, the Regional Officer for Generali Asia and Non-Executive Director, Future Generali India Insurance. Rob, as we all know him, has been a huge sponsor to us on not just moving the DEI needle, but also thinking out of the box and reimagining the DEI landscape, truly realizing the inclusion vision at FGII. Here's the video.
Hello everyone. I'm truly sorry Good morning. Much better, much better. I can't help it, I have a sales background, so I need that cheerful background to get going. So, I normally wear a white shirt at work. I think people don't know me know that. I don't want like applying my mind first thing in the morning. I have enough on my plate. The last thing I want to do is to actually spend that big of a workload. But today I did take some effort to pick up the right shirt. I did want today to be a celebration, feel like a celebration, and therefore you're probably going to see me on a working day in a color and a shirt. You'll probably never see me again. case you're truly representative, so will your company be to the customers, and not just that, you truly will value compassion, you truly will demonstrate empathy, you truly will show compassion to all your customers. And as a service, what we provide is a promise. And then I think our ability to deliver that promise depends largely on what we do as a responsible societal citizen. So on that note, I'm very proud that we've hit that milestone of 1%. And as Rob pointed out, let's see where this journey takes us. Thank you so much for being here today for the celebration, and look forward to the rest of the afternoon with all of you. And I think we have a video which is, to talk about our journey since we started this. Thank you very much.
Inspire countless others to believe in the power of resilience and determination. I'm reminded of a famous quote that it is not our disabilities but our abilities that actually define us, because our next guests are true embodiments of this spirit. They've taken challenges head on and turned them into opportunities, building something really extraordinary along the way. Their journeys remind us that limitations are only in the mind, and with courage and with perseverance, anything is possible. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome them on stage now. Please join me in giving a very warm round of applause as we welcome them to our Diversibility Day. Here they are. So thank you once again for gracing us with your presence today, and for what a living example of, being a living example of what it truly means to turn dreams into reality. An absolute privilege today. Okay everyone, this is it, the moment we've all been waiting for. Today is not just an event, it's a milestone in Future Generali's journey towards inclusivity and diversity. Now, innovation isn't just about new ideas. It's about rewriting the rules. At Future Generali India Insurance, leading with innovation goes beyond new ideas. It's about rewriting the rules. So FGII did exactly that with a bold promise to ensure that at least 1% employees at FGII would be PWDs. And in true FGII style, you've done it. Today, as we celebrate this landmark, we are here for the grand reveal that we've all been waiting for. The moment we've been waiting for, it's time to bring something truly special to life. This is a celebration of resilience, diversity, and the extraordinary power of the human spirit. I'd like to invite ANUP RAU, along with our esteemed guests, RANA, Avni, and Shrikant, to place their hands on this tablet that's about to come onto stage any moment and reveal the big magic for today. So here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all going to happen in just a second from now. Can we have your hands on the iPads? and you sprinkled across the pages, making it a truly special edition worth owning. I invite all of you to be a part of this transformative journey, and if you'd like to own a copy of this special edition, it's available at the stall outside for just ₹4.99 rupees. You can also order your very own copy from Amazon, and very soon you're going to find these books on the racks across leading bookstores like Crosswords and Tidal Wave and airports. And for our readers who are PWDs, this book is also available in Braille and in the audiobook format. So in true future Generali tradition, all proceeds go to a good cause. So go grab your copies now, and once again, it's a wonderful world, ladies and gentlemen. Look at what I'm seeing. A big round of applause for all our guests. And now that the photographs have been taken, it's time to dive deeper into the stories. Okay, we'll give some time for photographs so they don't shout over when I'm speaking. Okay, the book is now retiring. It's going back to where it came from, and it's going back largely because it's available for you now, and it's time for us to dive deeper into the stories that inspire us with our special guests. I'm going to take this opportunity to hear from them, to learn about their journeys, their struggles, and their triumphs. We're going to have a short panel discussion with our guests. I'm going to moderate it, and you're going to be the lucky few who will be privy to this amazing conversation. So give us 2 minutes while we get seated, and we're on. To be asking them some questions that they know about and some that they don't. So we'll go ahead. Rana, let's start with you first. You know, in the book that I was going through, you've spoken about your personal journey, about dealing with partial blindness, about getting a corneal transplant, and even a kidney transplant. And I was amazed because I knew nothing about this before, and I just want to know about your personal journey through these health challenges and how have they actually changed your perspective on life?
First, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I never spoke about something like this in a forum that was lit up and a stage like this, but well, I think life always has a way of teaching you things, and this was mine, and that's how I took it in my stride. And whether partial blindness is even a fact today that I can't see from one eye, but I still continue to do what I do. I was diagnosed with
kidney issues after this large successful film called Bahubali. So if you saw that film, I was like 2 times this size or 3 times this size. But post that, I couldn't be the guy I was. So somewhere it was like reinventing yourself. It was finding perspective and meaning to the world in the way that you should find it. The largest lesson that you learn is time is limited. The way you spend each day, the way you value relationships or value what you do for yourself and for others becomes very key and priority. The why in my life became very important post that. It took away 5 or 6 years of my life from active work because I was dealing with how to get back to normalcy. And fortunately or unfortunately, the job that I was in, normalcy meant much more than normal standards. Because the last time they saw me on screen, I was killing a bison with my bare hands, and I knew I couldn't be that guy anymore. So I think every choice, whether it's life or the way you choose to move it, kind of changed. And there is a sense of hardship, but I don't know if. But that probably made me the human I am today, because if not that, I wouldn't have had a perspective to see the world in the way I do.
Right, but you know, I mean, like you said yourself, you have a life that is much. You've always led a life that's been way larger than life, than normal mortals, and I wanted to know that through this journey, even with your life that is so sort of king size, how have you figured? What are your opinions on now the importance of inclusion? You know, of having people, and has it deepened your understanding of why we should be more inclusive?
I don't know if that's what my health kind of addressed. I don't know if that was the first take back that I got. But to me, the largest take back is you don't know anyone's story. Everyone has a life that you assume that's of a certain manner. But there's something that's far more deeper. If you can't help in any ways making that story better, it's not, that's the way to lead life, where unless you're not able to fix it, don't spoil it. So I think that's where it took me. The second part was understanding greater values in life, and cinema was also seeing some kind of change in this point. I mean, we are all talking post 2020, we see everything very differently, whether it's watching a movie, whether it's experiencing life itself. They've been, and India being, I mean, it's not a complaint in any ways, but the fact that we are such a large country, we have so many things to deal with. There's very little importance given to anything that is physically disabled. You have to find a normal in a different rhythm. But I think today there's a world that is telling some authentic stories. Just for example, a story of Shrikant that just came out some time back, whether it was films like Tare Zameen Par, whether any of those that kind of give a understanding of what this is. Because I realize whatever disability one is going through, it's very hard for the other to understand in the most authentic way possible. Like I remember the early times when I had a phase where I had a year or something where I was just prepping for surgery, where I had to drop a certain kind of weight, I had to control my blood pressure, I had some calcification around my heart that I had to clean up. So there was a bunch of things I was doing. And there was a lot of sympathy that was coming my way, which was very hard to deal with. Because you constantly were being reminded that you were weak. The only thing that threw me out of that was there were another bunch of people that had similar issues, and I went to a hospital called Mayo. And it's a little town where everybody is either a doctor or a patient, so that was the normalcy. And it was humor that got us out of many things. So I remember many people used to keep asking me, okay, this is your issue, you need a kidney surgery, you need a donor, you need a transplant, you need this. Everyone's sympathizing with you, but the day I started asking their blood group and said, will they be the donor, they started disappearing. So I realized everyone can be partial sympathetic, but if you want to take the extra mile and really do it together, I think it's events like this that give us that strength and vision to kind of put these forward.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, to hear your insights on this, and we have so many more, questions about how films can help. But I think I'm going to move on to Avni for a bit and give you respite. Avni, your journey from being, to being a Paralympic champion has been like remarkable. So, can you share with those of us who are sitting here, the challenges that you faced after your accident at the age of 11, and both how it affected you personally and of course as an athlete. So take us through your journey a little bit yourself.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. Sorry, I'm having a bad throat today. Life, it has a lot of unexpected twists and you don't know what's going to happen. I was just 10, 11-year-old when our whole family met with a car accident. And after that, being a kid who's running, dancing, going around, and suddenly you are completely on the bed and you don't know how to go ahead with your life. It kind of changed my mindset, also changed me completely. Living your life totally on a wheelchair, you have to learn a lot of new things, how to go outside, how to face the world. It brought a lot of sadness, anger, anxiety and all of those things. Physically there were a lot of issues, but mentally it was very exhausting because you don't know what's there in future for you. Sometimes you don't even want to think about it, how it's going to be. Sometimes you think why it's with me, why God has chosen me to be, in this misery and all. But the only thing that kept me going and helped me through all of these things were definitely my family. They played a huge role in, they just said that now, visually we can see that you have changed, but inside you're still the same Avni Lekha that was there. And you can still do the things that you set your mind onto it, and they kind of pushed me to, living a as normal as possible life. I joined the school, they even pushed me in sports, and in 2015 I started shooting. And when I went there for the first time, I was so nervous. I was like, how can I do this sitting on a wheelchair? How can I even hold a rifle that is 5-6 kgs? Like, I'm not capable of doing that. I was shivering, I was so nervous. But most of it was because I thought that people are going to judge me, because you don't see a lot of people sitting and shooting good tens. So that was something that people are going to judge me, make fun of me. But there were times that I wanted to give up shooting too. But shot by shot, process by process, I was like, okay, let's continue doing it. And eventually I kind of fell in love with shooting, kind of fell in love with the rifle. And personally, when I went there to Tokyo, it was just for the experience, because you never see those much people like you, But when I went there, I felt like home. I felt like there's so many people with different kind of disabilities, and they're still living their life even better than me, even better than a lot of people that I know, and that kind of inspired me. And when I went there, when I won the medal, I was at this podium, I really, the only thought that came up to my mind was that your circumstances does not define you. It's what you do with it, it's how you come out of it. That is how it should be, for you to be. Just don't think about how your life is, what you're capable of doing, what you're not capable of doing, because if you only think that you're not capable of doing, how will I give it to you?
Absolutely, and it's lucky for us and the country that you decided to tell yourself these wonderful things. I just wanted to ask you, what is that one thing that kept you going? Like, what is the one thing you kept telling yourself that, to overcome whatever it is that was being thrown at you? Because it's not like you didn't know a life without disability, you did. So what did you tell yourself again and again to keep going?
I will not say that it was all good. every day, and every day I was fully motivated, I was always happy. And when people say that the first thing you should do is accept what has happened to you, it is not easy to accept it.
It's really difficult. I mean, it's easier said than done, right? It's easy for people to say.
Definitely. And even, when you go out and people say, it's okay, move on and all that, for once you think, okay, one day it is okay, but then again, you have to start from zero. You have to stand in front of the mirror and you have to say to yourself that yes, you are worthy of whatever, you have, whatever you are going to achieve. And your achievements also does not define you. Because when I won the gold medal, it was not like, okay, now I'm the best, I've achieved everything. Sometimes there's still this emptiness inside you that no achievement can fulfill other than you believing in yourself that I am a whole person, and I don't need, my achievements does not define me, it is who I was, that's why I got those achievements.
Amazing. Wow, there's so much to learn from what she's just said. I mean, even for those of us who are not dealing with this, these are words that have come out of deep experience, and we appreciate that you're sharing them with us. Shrikant, I'm going to come to you next. Your personal life experiences, of course, everyone knows about. They've been brought to the big screen by the film Shrikant. How many of you have seen the film? You have, right? Most of us have. Enjoyed it, liked it, got motivated by it. But you know what, Shrikant? We have the privilege of having you here in person. So we want to hear a little bit about your journey and your thoughts, the parts that didn't make it to the film.
I think the best and first thing that didn't make into the film is my real face in the place of an actor.
No, what a pity.
I wish I would have acted my own role, so perhaps it would have given me. But life is all about every time you face a challenge, you turn that as an opportunity. So this time I made up my mind and said, जब sequel to आएगा जरूर मैं ही करूँगा. But thank you so much for having me today. And indeed, I'm moved because I have done so many events, had done so many DI events and all. But I have not seen a company like Future Generali who is actually practicing inclusion as intention. You should understand this fact, right? I mean, everybody have sympathy or everybody want to do good for people who are underprivileged or people who are disabled. But people who can do it as an intention, as a part of their ecosystem and a blueprint, those are the real change makers. And today, Future Generali is no less than a change maker in this field, in innovating for the big change that we want to see. And my life is all about that. Wherever I see a challenge, I would walk right into it. And it's the challenges that makes me every day. And it's the no that makes me to turn yes. Every time someone says no, I climbed over their head to proceed to the next level and say, it's only Shrikant can do this. And in fact, I always joke and say, if you want to rub me on the wrong side, all that you have to do is say no to me. Then I'll prove that I can do this. I think just as we have limited time, it was very difficult for the director and his team to bring out the entire story in the 2 years of screen time, what I've done in the last 33 years. But they have done a fantastic job in bringing out my story with 98% plus accuracy, but of course with a little bit of that Bollywood sauce that we all need to have. And this is the first time in the Indian cinema we have seen a story of a hero being portrayed by a real hero. Because so far, whatever movies you have seen, the characters of people with disabilities were used as decoys or ancillary characters to make their movie look good or make it more a little bit sympathetic or whatever. But this is the first time in the Indian history that the distinction between sympathy and empathy is drawn out in the form of a real story. As Rana ji was saying, sympathy is absolutely useless, whereas empathy is what we need to make that big change that we all want to see. Because compassion is not about giving a 10-rupee coin to a beggar on the streets. It's about giving someone a way to live with dignity and purpose. And today, this is what Future Generali is actually initiating and saying compassion doesn't come from elsewhere, it is in your own hearts, it is in your own mind. You know, before I close this, when I was born in 1991, everybody said I was a zero. Because what they could see was I was born with both the eyes closed. But it was me and my parents were able to realize that I was actually a born hero because I was born with the power of vision. You know, when you have vision is something that you and I cannot see it, but you only have to embrace it. You know, when vision is in your mind that you always cherish, and when the mind doesn't have a disability, then in what way I am challenged or differently abled or specially abled? I am no shorter or no way less than a hero that he is and all of you are. And this is why when people often ask me, how much vision do you have? I always tell them I have 100% vision. So people laugh and say, again they will ask, how much can you see? That's when I understand their question and laugh and say, look, vision is in the mind and I have 100%, and sight is for the body. I may have 0, but with this power of vision and the power of manifestation and visualization, I can do anything that you and I cannot even think about it. You know, my thinking will start where your sight ends, and my vision starts where your sight ends. And this is the difference between you and me. And with the vision and the foresight that I have, I don't think any challenge will look too big for me. In fact, challenges are the biggest blessings for me because they will enable me to become a better person every day, to achieve anything in this world, to stay on top and be an inspiration and example to everyone out there across the world, and be a change maker that I wish to be. Because I feel change is not something that I want to make. I rather want to create a change forever. And in my little life, I have created change in the education, sports, extracurricular, and more importantly, I have changed people's perceptions in millions. And I wish to do the same. Thank you again.
Wow. Shika, I mean, there's so much that you said in just like 3 minutes that it's, you know, if we sit and isolate every line, there could be like a chat.
30 minute का क्वेश्चन पूछा, 3 मिनट में आंसर देने के लिए तो बोला।
नहीं, मैं आपसे और काफी सारे सवाल पूछने वाली हूँ, जो कि बट सबसे पहले मैं ये बोलना चाहती हूँ कि आप बिल्कुल सही है, राजकुमार राव ने आप ही को करना चाहिए उसका फिल्म का सीक्वल, क्योंकि आपने इतना कुछ अचीव कर लिया फिल्म के बाद तक।
Maybe Rana ji will produce it and I like it.
यहीं पर हो जाएगा ना कि
Because I still own Telugu rights, so Rana will have an opportunity to produce it.
Yes, absolutely. The deal's done. Okay, Anup, I mean, this is such a wonderful event. Firstly, congratulations on achieving the 1%, PWD inclusion goal to you and your entire team. It's really marvelous to see. Tell me, I mean, when I was working behind the scenes of the event, everyone had such, amazing things to say about you. I just wanted to ask you if there's a personal journey behind Future Generali's, walking the talk in, achieving this milestone. There must be something that's driving you personally.
Let me first recover from what I've heard, especially from Srikanth, so give me a couple of minutes. But that was really powerful, Srikanth. Thank you. Look, I mean, yes, there was a personal journey in the sense that, when I went to college, and this was back in Delhi in 1992, one of my closest friends today is the president of a consulting firm. He had met with an accident, so he didn't have use of one limb for about a year. But then that was a matter of great annoyance for all the friends at that point in time, saying that he's slowing us down, we're not walking fast. In 1997, I went through a procedure on my left leg. They had to strip out a vein. Long story behind that. But then, for about 3 or 4 months, I really had to use aids to walk. And that was really difficult. And finally, obviously, I got rid of it. And plus, one of my closest friends, he had, in 1 year, 2 things happened to him. He got paralyzed base down because of an accident again in Delhi. Then they discovered a tumor in his spine and led to upper body paralysis as well. And he was a cricket buff. Now, I don't know if a subconscious level all this has, and just to complete that, and he could not really go to stadiums and watch matches like the rest of us could.
I don't know if this subconsciously had an impact on me, I have no idea. But then, look, I mean, I do believe that a lot of us here in this room are lucky. I mean, a lot of what we make out of life is an accident of birth. A lot of it is what you do. And I think we need to be grateful at the end of the day. I mean, we put on this planet for maybe 70, 80, 90 years. I mean, at least for somebody like me, I have more years behind me than ahead of me. I'm already 50. And I think we're put here to do good, so let's do good. I mean, I think there's nothing deeper. Now, to be honest, I don't know whether these stories had an impact on me, and especially beyond the privilege, I'm in a position of privilege with the seat I hold to be able to do something. So why not? It'd be a waste if I don't make use of it.
You have done it so well, so well. So congratulations again. Okay, we've got a grip on everyone's journeys that we all knew about, should know about, can read about in the book. Rana, let me ask you a question which I think Srikanth will also have a chance to, chip into. But how do you think the representation of inclusion has changed over the years in Indian cinema of, representation of inclusion? I do know that, public perception changes. Cinema has the power of impacting, public perception greatly, as we are seeing with all the films that are releasing now, different kinds of things. I think the last one that I remember, the first one I remember seeing on disability was Sparsh with Nasir Saab. I want to know how you think it's coming along and whether it's actually making a dent.
All storytelling will make a dent in any form. That's truly what I believe. Whether it's a story told in spoken word by people like this on the stage, whether it's a film that's made. As a film industry or a media industry, it's usually a reflection of society in terms of what it is. I heard someone else speak on stage earlier before us, where at some point women in the workforce was a big topic, and that meant inclusion at some point. It's a similar case in the entertainment world, where whatever's happening in society you'll start seeing as a reflection. It's just not in pure representation, which is now getting slightly higher than what it used to be. You have more docu-stories telling stuff. Thanks to the platforms, you have different types of storytelling that can lead into what you want to amass. What also is a large working is where audiences being able to enjoy it, audiences with disability being able to enjoy cinema like all the other moviegoers do. Recently, the government's actually put a piece where you have an app for everybody who has a hearing aid to come to a cinema and enjoy it in the same manner that they would. Whether it's just access to facilities of studio and others. You see the newer studios being built much more efficiently to provide spaces and workforce that can be physically disabled but also lucid. Earlier they were playing very small parts, sometimes not with culturally right context, ridiculing humor and others, which kind of now people are sensitized to and kind of understand it over time. That happens lesser. But whether it's the global world or cinema in India, you have a lot of them with disability now coming forward in front screen and celebrating it rather than seeing it in any other manner. So there is a change, but again, change is small. Do we have a future generally in the entertainment world? No, we don't.
Yeah.
But I think this will inspire us and to do a lot more, and the fact that organizations outside that have built processes for it, I think is sharing knowledge is something that's important. And I just feel like if we're able to share knowledge of how each industry is being able to set forth something, I feel like that's a start for everybody.
Yeah, so definitely the media is also making way for inclusion in terms of the logistics and the ease at which everyone can be participating. But like Srikanth spoke a little earlier about the difference between empathy and sympathy, even in films I feel that, like you said earlier, it was a subject of really bad humor and ridicule, but I feel that now with films like, we've had quite a few, Guzarish and Pa and, Hichki, and of course I'll plug the husband's film, Chandu Champion, which released. I feel that, a lot of humor can make it more mainstream. Do you agree, Shrikant, if
Yes.
we use good, humor which is not stuff that was erstwhile ridiculous humor, will make it more mainstream and more meaningful to people who are watching it who don't understand PWD?
Of course, actually what Rana said is absolutely correct, and in continuation to that, right? So for example, Shrikant was done in Hindi, but it was done in sign language as well as in audio format. Like people with various disabilities can walk into the mainstream theatre, can have a headphone and watch the movie and all the silent scenes being spoken. And on the fun itself, right, the movie is very funny, and just to say, if a photographer says, look here, I would ask them in WhatsApp, मेरे लिए तो सब एक ही है, east, west, south, sub, north. It's all about how you define the fun, right? So even though you have a disability, I think fun has no limitations on the type of body or the race or the disability or the community you come from. It's a universal element, and it has to be brought in onto the mainstream, whereas everybody of all walks of people, ranging from kids to old age people, enjoy the cinema because it's all for entertainment, and you have to tell that powerful, inspirational yet sad story in a most funny way. And if you see Shrikant, there is not even a small scene or a single scene which makes you feel, oh shit, but every scene will make you feel that you're above your seats and you can do this. I think that's the way. It all depends on storytelling, as he said, and we have evolved quite a bit, and the definitions of people with disabilities are also evolving, and the mindset of the people is slowly changing, and it will 100% change when I become onto the silver screen, by the way.
Yeah, Rana, you wanted
I'm
to
just
add
joking.
something about the humor bit of it.
Well, the humor part of it. So I remember the first time I was in a hospital, I had obviously it's a kidney transplant would happen from the front, so I was pretty much cut up. And they were still trying to measure my eye to figure out what next can be done to it. And a friend of mine visited me and he said, he took some pictures and he sent it on the group saying, guys, there's a secret, Rana's the Terminator. So I think that kind of got me off as I go, wow, if you start looking at things with humor, I think everything changes.
Yes.
And there's something deep in storytelling that can touch all hearts, and I just feel like the more cinema that's made, the easier it gets for people to watch it, and I think that's the set to a lifestyle change.
And lead to more inclusion. But Shrikant, in terms of entrepreneurship, how do you think we can move beyond viewing this just as, beyond viewing disabled entrepreneurs as exceptions to the rule, or he's like, and actually create an ecosystem that actually fosters full-scale integration.
So if you see, right, nobody calls me a disabled entrepreneur or differently abled entrepreneur. They just call me Shrikant Bola because I have that identity by myself, not as a disability or anything. Because I have created that space for me in the society to have myself being called as Shrikant Bola. So, this entrepreneurship doesn't have to be from a disability side or non-disability. It is about who you are and what change you want to make it. So when I wanted to come back to India, start a company in the sustainability and recycling, everybody thought, "Arey yaar, abhi tak to tum ganda to jarur, but once you start this company, you will also become ganda." Then I replied to the world and said, "मैं तो अंधा जरूर हूँ, but it has nothing to do with what I'm going to do. But मैं गंदा कभी नहीं हूँगा, because I want to do it so cleanly, so well, and I want to establish an empire that would be an example for the entire startup ecosystem across the world." And that is what we have shown in this last 10 years of our existence. What we at Bollywood can do, ranging, what we can recycle, what products can we create. When I wanted to study science, everybody said I can't do practical experiments. But today, 15 years later, I run the best R&D and QC lab in the country to create beautiful, sustainable and hygienic products in the space of cosmetics, cleaning, sanitation, oral sanitation and much more. And big FMCG companies of the world are going to be our customers and are already our customers. This is what the mindset change can create. People perceived me as challenge, but I did not. I was normal. I was a born hero, as I said. I was completely alright. God can only give us starting circumstances, but we make our own destiny. The future was in my hands to make it less interesting, less predictable and more interesting. And that's what I have done. And you know, I never ever claim any special scheme or special sympathy, be it pension or be it anything. In fact, I am the tax giver for welfare schemes. Why I should receive anything from the government? You know, I know many people who are disabled, who are differently able, feel that it's their entitlement and may want to seek some special benefits. But when I travel, Rana was saying he was on the same plane as I was. I was putting up my own bag upstairs in the bin, picking it up, and I was doing all myself. I know I was traveling in business class and crew can do everything, but why? When I can do everything on myself, why you have to depend on someone else and make them, give them more work? And that's the mindset we all have to live with. Then entrepreneurship is just a breeze. And you can create, you can go to any investor, pitch your strong idea, and that's what will get you investment. They won't invest you just because you are disabled. They will invest you because you are innovative, you are challenging, and you're going to solve a real problem. And that's what it is.
Amazing. Like Anup, it will take time to digest what you said because there's so many gems in one statement. Avni, you know, how can we try?
You know, para-athletes are inspirational rather than considering them as elite athletes should be changed because it's an equal amount of hard work, dedication, competitiveness and skill. Everything is similar to the able-bodied athletes, but there's the filter of disability that comes. And it changed the mindset, and it's more like people first see that, oh, you know, when they look up to the athletes, when they look at the para-athlete or para-sports events, they think, oh, what a story, rather than thinking, oh, what a match it was. So I think that should be changed first and foremost, and that can only be achieved if it's, you know, the same kind of media visibility will be there when you will see that athletes all around the year, not just for the Paralympics, but the other matches, World Cups, World Championships, and rather than showcasing what they have achieved and how they have overcome their disability and now they have become inspirational heroes, showcasing how neck to neck the competition was, you know, the tactics and whatever the technical aspects of the sport is and how they are going and growing and winning the medals. And obviously if there will be more inclusivity and accessibility around the world, where even at the grassroots level, when the athletes start, they know and they are educated enough to know that, okay, if a child comes, the first thing they do not think that, okay, you know, can I do this? Can I try a sport? They think that what sport should I try? What sport do I really like? What sport do I really fit in? And that's what will come when the grassroots level people, like in schools and other things, then they educate more, they talk more about disability, and also, you know, when you go out and when you see that when athletes come up, they usually have their stories, but rather than the stories, they should know that when I started this, like I completed 10 years in shooting, and the first question people ask me about is, how did you overcome the accident?
Not the actual struggle to get where you are.
Yeah, so, you know, that is something that should change.
I'm sure you should stop those questions right there and go ahead and talk about your development in the sport rather than how you managed to overcome the disability. So like I said, mainstream dialogue is what's important, and get past your independence. So empathy versus sympathy is all it boils down to. Anup, as a parting shot, I just want to ask you about the top 3 steps you would recommend for organizations to be fostering a culture like Future Generali has, you know, of being inclusive, of actually, making mainstream all these things that people think are peripheral?
I think first thing, and I touched upon it previously, is that, recognize that doing business comes with a responsibility, it's a privilege. And it's true, not just for business, it's true for sports people, it's true for actors, it's true for influencers in any shape and form, be it individuals or institutions. I think there's a sense of responsibility one has towards a larger community and towards society. And I think it's important to consciously act on it, not just be aware of it. I think we all get into a room and say that yes, we are a company, we are an individual, we are in a position of strength, and then say that yes, we have a responsibility and not act upon it. It's very easy to forget that. The second bit is, you asked me for three, so I'm trying to put it in order, but the second bit is probably about not just having bumper stickers and slogans. That's very easy to do. You can celebrate Women's Day, Diversity Day, you can celebrate Pride, you can do all of that. But you need real action. I think Shrikant spoke about sympathy and empathy. And I would speak about, having sympathy for a cause and actually doing something about it. I think they're two different things. And that requires a lot of hard work. It requires KPIs. It requires telling people that your job depends on getting this done. It requires more, rewarding people who actually do that for you. Maybe over-reward people, disproportionately reward people who deliver this imperative for you. I think that is extremely important, because I think my worry really is that we go with we stick to bumper stickers and then not do much about it, as much about it as we can. I think the last bit really is that organizations should be conscious about the fact that in case you foster this in your organization, and I have a strong view, I can't establish this empirically or statistically, but an organization which is inclusive, which creates a culture or fosters a culture like this, in my opinion, will treat its customers better, will be more sensitive to customer requirements, which is a competitive advantage of the marketplace. Let's say at the end of the day, let's face it, especially a company like ours, which all we do is we sell a promise, and the customer is supposed to get the promise delivered at that point in time. The question is not about the promise being delivered, but in what shape, what form, how seamless,
how we view, PWDs, that one change or that one word or that one feeling that you'd like to not see when we view people with disabilities. Rapid fire, Rana.
It's rapid fire, sir. I don't think this is a rapid fire thought. I think it's every thought needs an action which is quite deep. To me, because I'm from the movies, I'm from the arts, I can say any form of storytelling that can create authenticity and let a larger number of people know the real challenges and real issues and the real outcomes of what it can be. So I think
There's lots of food for thought there. Shrikant, the one thing on change.
I think as I was focused on from the beginning, it's the sympathy that doesn't be required in the face of disability. So I think sympathy does not help anyone, be it disabled or be it non-disabled. Sympathy is something that doesn't help any one of us. It's only what we can do. It's the chance for us to get opportunities, what we need as human beings to excel and prove to ourselves.
And what's that one pet peeve word that you absolutely dislike being used?
Impaired, disabled.
Okay. I hope everyone's making a note of that. Avni, what about you?
I feel like I kind of feel totally opposite of it. I used to shy away with the word disabled and all, but I personally feel it is very empowering and it gave me a sense of purpose. And also, I don't think there's anything to shy away from. Once you go out and once you embrace whatever you have and however you have it, it doesn't matter.
Well, there you have it. Different perspectives from three amazing achievers. Thank you, Avni, Shrikant and Rana, ANUP, for having this chat with us. This really, really meant a lot to those who are listening and for, just sharing. And I think all of these you will find in the book, which you will have to pick up from outside. So once again, a huge round of applause for our esteemed guests.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
You want to do a picture?
recording चालू है. क्या रिकॉर्ड किया भाई आपने? नौ टूटे होगा